Hi, my name is Aliyah, and I am obsessed with matcha. From drinks to foods to the color itself, I can't get enough. My problem, you may be asking? The matcha scene in my city literally sucks ass. So today we're on a mission to find the best matcha in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. So let's get into it. It's definitely a flavor. Wait. Did I mention that there's a tier list involved? We might have found it. Hello everybody, it's me, your favorite matcha connoisseur, and let's go ahead and start torturing myself because that's what this video is going to entail. Aliyah torturing herself for 30 minutes straight. So there are 3 rules for this challenge and they're all very simple. Rule number 1, I have to order the same drink at every single shop, and that is a iced matcha latte with oat milk, no extra sweeteners, no specialty flavors, no syrups, because I want to make it fair. How am I to rate somebody's matcha if I'm getting a blueberry muffin, strawberry lemonade matcha latte? The flavor is going to mask up the matcha. How am I supposed to rate that? Rule number 2, I have to take 3 sips of the matcha, and I mean some good sips, even gulps even, some may say, before I start actually rating it, because who am I to start rating something off of 1 sip? A first impression definitely matters, but what comes after the first impression is the meat and potatoes of what it actually is. And then rule number 3, I have to rate the matcha off of 3 things that make a good matcha. Color of the matcha, the greener the better, I'm pretty sure as many of you may know by now. The quality of the matcha, which basically means how smooth and how good it tastes and feels going down. And rule number 3, actually how smooth the matcha is. This determines how well it was made, if it was whisked properly, and yada yada yada. Y'all know the drill by now. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and head to our first place, which is a very popular coffee shop here known as Babaloo. Can I just do a regular iced matcha latte with oat milk? Just plain, please. Yeah, thank you. When I say this is boots on the ground journalism, perfect. I mean it, this is boots on the ground journalism. Stopped at Babaloo to start this video off, and first and foremost, the presentation of this, beautiful, and they get bonus points from me because they actually let me film it. Love that for them. Now, I usually don't like to judge matchas based off the first pour because it's always gonna be pretty when you pour it, but when you mix it, that's when the real color comes out. So let's do exactly that. Okay, you know what? This actually is very green and it looks pretty good considering the last time I was here, it was absolutely awful. So our overall rating for the color of the matcha, I'm gonna give it 8.5 or a 9 because overall it just looks really freaking good. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you, but the real test is how it tastes. Wait a minute. My tongue's green. So I'm finding it. This literally just tastes like dirty water. I can feel that there's matcha present, yet I can't put my finger on the actual notes and the taste of the matcha because I'm so distracted by the dirty water taste. I'm so confused. I'm genuinely so confused. How is this even possible? I think this is going to be a common thing within this video where I think a lot of businesses say, oh, they have matcha and they put a shit ton of matcha, but just because you put a lot of matcha does not make your matcha good. And when people say matcha tastes dirty, like dirt-y, dirty, like dirt-like, this is what they're talking about because this literally tastes like dirty water. It's a no for me. It's really smooth. I'll give the smoothness like a 7. The flavor of this, I'm giving this like a 4.5. It looks really good, but it just didn't land for me. This isn't landing for me whatsoever. I'm still trying to figure out what milk they use because there's no way in hell that is oat milk. I think if I had to put it somewhere on our tier list, it's gonna have to be in the don't speak a word to me derogatory because I'm clearly at a loss for words. That's not necessarily in a good sense per se. I'm currently at our second matcha location, which is Sumach. I hear really good things about their matcha, but based off first impressions, it's really pretty once again, but pretty doesn't cut it if it's not mixed, so let's go ahead and mix this. Based off color alone, not that impressed so far. I would have to give the color like a 4 out of 10. It's not looking good for us right now. 1 sip, 2 sip, 3 sip. So I think this is another victim of my $6 curse. This matcha was $6.50. If you aren't aware of what my $6 curse is, that's basically the curse that I coined to be where matcha is $6, so it's bound to be mid, and I think we have yet another victim proving me right every single time. It's very chalky. The smoothness I'm gonna have to give like a 5 because I'm getting like matcha chunks as well, so it wasn't whisked very thoroughly unless they like batch made it. I didn't see how they made it this time, and it's very milky. That's usually another quality of the $6 curse when it comes to the matcha. It's very milky. Let me get some from the top. Yeah, no, this just isn't doing it for me. The quality of the matcha is not that great. I'm probably gonna have to give it like a 4.5. I definitely will say it's a step up of a Babaloo because it doesn't taste like dirty water, but you can't really compare dirty water flavor to oat milk milk because clearly this like oat milk flavor is going to be a lot better than the dirty water flavor, but overall neither of them were just really that good. The flavor, it's definitely a flavor. Bro, I'm gonna give the flavor like a 5. If I were to, you know, bring somebody to get a matcha, I would make it at home for sure. But if I couldn't make it at home for whatever reason, I wouldn't bring them here. And that's just the way the cookie's crumbling right now. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna put this in my C tier, which is could be better in one way or another, just because it's like there's so many things that they could have done better. Like there's so many things they could have done better. Come on. Okay, it's day 2 presentation. She's eating. We're currently at little Madeline, little Madeline, little Maddie, little M, little Mads, all the government names. We're gonna give her a little bit of a mix. The color, I feel like it's one of the better ones that we've seen, considering this is our 3rd one. This is definitely better than Sumach yesterday. Looks a little like muddy, but I'm not gonna knock it until I try it because you know we have our 3-sip rule. So let's go ahead and sip. Matcha is genuinely so sweet. I see why people like it if they don't like matcha. So for the color, I'm gonna give this like a 6 out of 10. The matcha taste itself, it's not bad. It's very earthy though. I think just like a 6 out of 10. I think it's like, it's fine. My gauge for stuff like this is always, would I bring somebody here to try this? And if the answer is no, that should kind of tell you where my thought process is. And how could I forget? I have to rate the smoothness of it. This was actually prepared very well. I'm getting little to no grains at all. It went down very smooth, and overall I think the quality of the taste of the matcha is like okay. So I'm gonna give quality taste, quality control, because that's who I am. Probably like a 6.5, and then the smoothness of the matcha I'm gonna give like a 7.5 because it was prepared very well. That's some of the smoothest matcha I've had so far, and I know we're only at number 3, but if it's smooth, it's smooth. You can't argue with that. But I think because I wouldn't recommend somebody come here and try this, I'm gonna put it in the C tier, which is could be better in one way or another. I wouldn't necessarily recommend, like if somebody has never had matcha before, I'm like, I don't see myself saying like, oh, come here, because they have really good matcha that I think you would really like. That's like really good quality, really good flavor, So it's like the 2nd one in the C tier, I think. But regardless, we're gonna head over to our next place. Moving into our next spot, which is a place called Fly Kid Fly in South Charlotte. So let's see what they're hitting on. Off rip, the presentation very good because the color, she's vibrant. Okay, I would have to give this like,
come on, let's go outside.
Go outside for what?
We gonna fight.
maybe like a 6. Once again, maybe a 5.75 when it comes to color, just because it's a little light, but it is very green, so I will give them that. I've only ever gotten specialty matchas from this place, so I've never just had like a plain matcha latte, so I'm kind of ecstatic to try just a plain Jane latte. I'm not gonna judge yet. 2 more sips. It just tastes like milk. This is why I said we can't get any specialty drinks throughout this video, because it's going to mask the matcha taste, and it's hard to get the matcha taste if your matcha isn't strong as it is. So when you have a matcha that really only tastes like milk and you add a flavor, you're getting flavored milk instead of matcha. And I think that's why this place is so well known and loved, because it's green and people love the aesthetics of a green drink, but they don't like the taste of it. And the reason that people like this place so much is because you probably can't taste a lot of the matcha in the drink. The smoothness, it's very smooth. I will say they whisk the hell out of this matcha. Once again, does the smoothness even really matter if you can't taste the matcha? No. Not really. So I'm gonna give the smoothness like a I'll give them a 5. I'll give them a 5, because you can't really have a smooth matcha with not enough matcha in it. But at the end of the day, it is very smooth, so I will give them that. I think this is gonna be a D tier regular matcha latte. Derogatory, do not speak a word to me. If I wanted to get somebody into matcha, I would not bring them here, because they're just gonna be drinking green milk, and that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to me, because now I look like a bad reviewer. Post Fly Kid Fly bombastic matcha latte, I'm coming to an all-time favorite for a regular matcha and a flavored matcha, because their matcha flavors are really good, because I need to rinse my mouth of the monstrosity that we just had. So we're heading to Indigo. Favorite coffee shops here in Charlotte. This is Indigo, and it's a black owned coffee shop that hasn't been open for too long, so I would say it's still like fairly new, but they have some of my favorite flavored matchas that I've ever tried, but I've never tried a regular matcha. I'm gonna give this like a 9 for color. Look how good this looks. And I got a peek of the matcha that they use, and they use this matcha with like the navy tin or like the navy bag. I see it all the time, and I've had it, and it's really good, so I'm really excited to try this. Okay, let's try it. That is so good.
Spectacular. Give me 14 of them.
That is so good. The smoothness, I'm giving a 10 out of 10. There's literally little to no grains, not even like at the bottom of the cup. And I know it was just poured and just mixed, but you can literally see that there's like no real pellets of matcha, just like ice on the side. You can actually taste the matcha within the milk, which I'm not surprised about because like I said, the matcha that they use is really, really, really good. I've had it before. Not as earthy. I would say it's more nutty, which I personally prefer nutty matchas. So for the flavor, I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10 just because the ratio could be literally a hair bit better with like a little bit more matcha. But overall, I can taste the matcha on top of the milk, which is really good considering I just had a cup of milk not too long ago. So this matcha is a banger. It's easily a banger. It is going to be absolutely revisiting and buying again. If I wanted to go ahead and show somebody what matcha is supposed to taste like, I would bring them here to Indigo. It's a perfect balance of flavor of the matcha as well as the milk that they use, and then they have fun specialty flavors as well that they change out throughout the month. So overall, my favorite matcha place for a reason. I'm not gonna lie. Exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. They understood. They understood very well. Good morning. We are at our next stop on our matcha crawl / tour. We are currently at Maman here off of Central Ave in Charlotte, North Carolina, not too far from Plaza Midwood. I just said a lot of things, and if you're not from here, you probably don't understand a single thing I just said, but regardless, we have some matcha with us today. Now, this matcha, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit on the lighter side, and the reason I wanted to come here is because they seem like they had some really funky matcha flavors, because on their summer menu, hold on, I'm gonna read some of the flavors off for you. They have iced banana pudding lattes, they have peach pie matchas, tonic matchas with mandarin, they have cucumber lemonades, coconut water matchas. I said, oh, y'all must know balls. So we're seeing if they can take it back to the basics without funky flavors to see if they can just do a plain old iced matcha latte with oat milk.
Yeah, it's
Right. The good news is the matcha is smooth. So smoothness rating, I'm gonna give it like an 8.5, 9. The bad thing, it tastes nothing like matcha. It just tastes like milk again. And you wanna know what's crazy?
I'm wondering.
You wanna know what's crazy? This was $6. So the mid $6 curse has in fact revived itself for here at Maman. I will say it's once again very hard to dive into the quality of said matcha just because I don't really necessarily taste much of anything. It's a very faint taste. I'm not gonna rate the quality on the matcha because I literally cannot freaking
bear with me
taste it. But something else I noticed with the $6 curse is that it's usually a pastel green, and that's exactly what this is. So I'm gonna give this matcha like a 5 in terms of color. It's pretty pastel, it's pretty light, and I kind of knew it was gonna look like that when they gave it to me to look really pretty when it was poured over the top instead of mixing it in, because it's always the best when you mix it in. And if your best is pastel green, it's usually not for me, babes. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. I think I'm gonna put this in could be better in one way or another, just because I feel like they could add a few more things such as more matcha. If I can actually taste it, that would actually be really helpful, and that would also help with the color. But overall, they whisked it really well. It's really smooth, but that could also be because there's not a lot of matcha in here.
We'll contact the law.
I don't know. I just know that it's not as bad as some of the other ones that we've had in this video. Overall, I think this belongs in could be better in one way or another. I just do a regular iced matcha latte with oat milk. Thank you so much. We are currently at our next coffee shop that recently opened here in Charlotte, and I wanted to go to because I saw some of their drinks on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and they looked fantastic. As much as I want to get a specialty drink, you know I had to get Old Reliable, and first impressions are really good because they use the milk I actually use at home for my matcha lattes. Really like how green it is. It's not that vibrant, so I'm gonna give the color like a 6.5 just because it is greener. It's not pastel green, but say it with me, it was around $6. I kind of have low hopes, but we're gonna try it anyway. So let's do our 3 sips. There is a lot of matcha in there. Holy shit, there's a lot of matcha in there. I'm gonna give this a smoothness rating of about a 6 because I do feel like because there is a lot of matcha in here, it is not very grainy, but it's a little grainy. In terms of the quality of matcha, I believe they're using a pretty good quality of matcha, because there doesn't taste like dirty. Like, it doesn't taste dirty, it doesn't taste nasty and low down. Really nice that they're using somewhat of a good quality matcha, which is why I think their color is so green in the way that it is. There's something in here that's making it have like like a twang, like a certain twang of flavor. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but regardless, the twang is very much present and I have to acknowledge it. I'm gonna give the quality of the matcha like a 6-ish out of 10. Maybe 6.25. This matcha, I would say it's better than average, but in my opinion, it's still pretty average. I think with how much matcha is in here, I think their specialty flavors might actually really shine and balance out the taste of matcha in here. It's just a lot of matcha in here. I wouldn't be surprised if my tongue was green. I will say I'm really happy I'm not tasting milk though. But this is a really good base, I think. And I think if they really just perfected their ratios, like I said before, it honestly could be a very solid option. I think this is actually a pretty B tier matcha. It just needs to work out the kinks a little bit. Literally just a hair. So guys, we're currently at our next matcha stop. We're currently at Nguyen's here in the Steel Creek area. And yes, we did in fact study how to pronounce the name before we got out the car because I didn't want to sound ignorant. And also, you should have your name pronounced how it's supposed to be pronounced.
It's also like low rent to not do that.
Yeah,
like,
because why are you not respecting anybody? And also, we have a special guest today. Everybody's favorite. We have Jarvis with us today in the building to try a few matcha spots today.
In the big
because the girls missed collabs and I needed to see him before.
For her world tour.
We have officially gotten the matcha. I already have a rating for the smoothness. I'm gonna give the smoothness like 6 because you can see that it's kind of grainy, but other than that, I think it looks really freaking good. So let's go ahead and try it. I also got their strawberry matcha as well as a mango matcha. We're still rating just the plain matchas, trust and believe. Color wise, she's a little light, but it is one of the better colors. I'm gonna give this like a 6. I think a 6 is fair.
I don't believe in colorism, so I like it a lot. They made prettier colors at the crib, for sure. No, Big Mama really knows.
He was not paid to say that. That was straight from the horse's mouth. I literally would not pay anybody to say my matcha is the best in this. Okay, let's go ahead and do a taste test. I was about to drink from the mic. That's not how that works.
What do we think?
It's sweet. Okay. I didn't ask for sweetener, but it is sweet.
Ooh.
Which isn't bad.
It's not a bad thing. A little bit though.
It's pretty milky again. I think the quality of the matcha is kind of hard to read and gauge because it is very milky. It was really pretty when he first poured it though. It's good, but it is a little bit milky for my like personal taste. I think overall I'll give the quality like a 6 because it's like fine. Color is a 6. The smoothness is literally the best part about this because it's honestly not, it's a little grainy, but it's still pretty smooth. So I think overall, I'm gonna put this in C tier overall. It could be better in one way or another. I think if the ratio was a little bit better and there was a little bit more matcha, it would really bang. And last but not certainly least, we're stopping at Cafeto. Hello guys, we're currently at our last spot for the video. We're at Cafeto. I have been here before and I tried their mango matcha and I wasn't the biggest fan, but I was kind of a fan. But then again, I didn't get the matcha plain, so how can I rate a matcha if I never got it plain and go straight to specialty? Color, it looks a lot better. Well, let me not speak before it's swirled all the way. Me making a big mess. It's better than it was last time. I'm gonna give the color like a 7.
I feel like you'd like for it to be like a little bit
Wait. Wait.
Take a minute. Take it in.
We might have found it.
Really?
We might have found it. It tastes like matcha, bare minimum mind you, but like it tastes like matcha. It's not overly sweet. It's well balanced. I'm gagged. It's not better than mine, but like I'm kind of gagged. This is one of the best ones I've had.
That's jumping. That's a lot coming from you.
Color's sitting at like a 7, but honestly for this size of the cup, they have the perfect amount of matcha in there, so I don't even care. I'm giving the matcha quality a 9. They asked me if I wanted ceremonial or organic, and I picked ceremonial. I think that also plays a part in why the matcha is so good. And then the smoothness, I'm giving a 10. It's smooth. I can't even talk. This smooth, it's so smooth. It's so good.
Yeah. That's real matcha though. Earthy, like in a good way.
But it's not dirty.
No. It's not dirty, but it just tastes real. And like there's a perfect amount of milk in that. It's not doing too much. And it's also not sweet, like the way it's not supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't ask for it to be sweet, so it's not sweet.
We're gonna put this in A tier. I feel like if I'm hesitant about if I should put it in the higher tier, I should have put it in the higher tier. So I'm gonna put this in A, absolutely. Will be buying, rebuying, loving, recommending. And if they're consistent, and I will give you an update in later videos if they're consistent. Because you know one thing, boots on the ground journalism, that's me. Hello, invented it. If it's consistent, I would make this S tier. This is literally so good. I am here today with a portable heating pad, sweatpant, big top, bleeding, just so I can still show you who got the best matcha in town. And it comes straight from this kitchen. I'm gonna teach you how to make my world famous, between my friends and family, matcha latte at home, so you do not have to be as disappointed as I was during this entire video. There's gonna be a few things that you need in order to make your matcha latte. Your first thing being your matcha powder. I personally will be using the Nami Yame matcha powder. It's one of my all-time favorites. You also need some sort of bowl. This can either be just a regular bowl. In this case, I have a chawan with me. This is from the brand Fleur. It's from their Nami collab, and I love this thing so bad because of how big it is. You're also gonna need something to break down the matcha, so whether that's something you can shake the matcha powder in, or something such as a whisk, which is what I will be using. And in this case, you're going to need a cup, because as much as it's probably amazing to drink straight out the bowl, I think you would enjoy a cup a little bit more for your latte. So I'm just using this one that I got off Amazon. It is 12 ounces. And we're gonna be cold whisking today, so your milk of choice today, mine is the Planet Oat Barista Lovers Oat Milk. This is definitely optional, but I'm using a sweetener. This is dark agave nectar, because I think this is the best way to sweeten up a matcha. And something else that is totally optional is a scale. I personally just like to use a scale to track how much caffeine I'm taking within my body, but once you kind of get your measurements down, you kind of don't really need one of these. So first things first, the thing that takes the longest is actually soaking your whisk if you have one of these. So what I like to do is boil some water, and I like to pour my boiling water in a small cup over my whisk so it can soak for at least 30 seconds, ideally up to 2 minutes, so it can definitely soften, not get damaged whenever we're making our matcha. Also, do you like my Smeg kettle? Isn't she so cute? I know. And then we are going to set this to the side for now. Now it's actually time to make our matcha. So you're gonna grab your bowl or your chawan, and you're gonna put it on your scale if you have one of those, and make sure you have it to where it is set to 0 so we can see how many grams that will be in the matcha latte. Oh, I forgot 2 instruments. Oh my goodness. 2 of the most important ones at that. So we have a sifter right here, as well as a scooper. You can use a measuring spoon or a wooden scooper like I use. It's totally up to you. Then you just add your matcha powder to your sifter, however much you want. And usually how I do it is I just spilled some. I usually don't do that, but I will put some in there to see how much matcha is in there, and I will gradually add some. I'm not that good with telling how much matcha is on my scooper by just eyeing it, so that's why I like to add it slowly but surely. Honestly, I'm over here saying I usually don't spill matcha, but I absolutely do. So I don't even know why I just told you a story. So today we're only using about 2.5 grams of matcha because it's later in the day for me. And like I said, we're gonna be cold whisking. And if you don't know what cold whisking is basically the technique to where instead of pouring boiling / hot water over your matcha, you pour cold milk over it instead. And I personally prefer cold whisking just because I don't like my matcha really watered down, and also I don't have one of those fancy kettles where you can tell it what temperature to heat it up to that matcha needs so you don't burn it and blah blah blah. So cold whisking is just easier and a lot more cost efficient. So that's why I personally like this one, because who's trying to buy a $200, $300 kettle? Not me. No shade, especially when I like cold whisking better. Yeah, there's no point. So my personal rule of thumb is whatever your gram is times that by 10, and that is how many milliliters of milk you're going to put in there. So for example, if we have 2.5 grams of matcha, we times that by 10. So in simple terms, just add a 0. That puts us at 25 milliliters. So I'm exactly at 25, period. Once you start making matcha a little bit more, like I said, you probably won't have to use your scale as much as you think, but I personally just like to do it because it's fun. And I get to monitor my caffeine. Yeah. After our whisk has been sitting for its duration of time, you're going to go ahead and start using M, Z, and W motion to whisk your matcha. Now, I know I said we're only gonna be using about 2.5 grams of matcha today, but if I want a stronger matcha latte, I usually do 3 grams, and of course, I'll do 30 milliliters of liquid and then whisk that and so on and so forth. But for today, I have a 12-ounce cup with me, so I want to go ahead and put in about 120 milliliters of milk. I noticed that this is just kind of my golden ratio between 115 and 120 milliliters, just because it tastes the best with that combination of matcha, that amount. And then I'm also gonna get about 10 milliliters of agave to put it in my matcha because I want it a little bit sweeter today. When I don't want it on the sweeter side, I'll do about 5 milliliters, but today I want something real sweet because my period is on, so we're gonna do 10. So then that will put us at 125 within our cup. Then we're just gonna go ahead and put our ice within our cup. I don't really put a certain amount of ice cubes within my cup. I just kind of fill the cup up with my heart depending on how full I want the cup to look. Nothing too crazy. And then now we're going to pour our matcha on top. That looks beautiful. And as you can see, I used the clear bowl for this reason, but as you can see, there's a lot of extra matcha left over within this. I'm sorry, but I paid too much money to let that matcha go to waste. So what we're gonna do is put our matcha cup to the side, add the literal tiniest splash of milk, just so we can get the remaining matcha out of this bowl. Call me stingy, but matcha cost way too much to be doing all that. And now I have pretty much a much better leftover matcha ratio within there. Our last thing that we're gonna do is look at our beautiful creation right here. This is a classic aliyah simone matcha latte made at home. Whether you have been looking for a new matcha recipe or you just like making matcha at home because your options suck, whatever the reason is that you made it to the end of this video, I hope you are satisfied with what you got. I make this matcha pretty much every single day, and I will say this matcha right here, S tier matcha. It's fantastic. Let's take a sip. It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. So with all that being said, that has been it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little matcha crawl. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. Make sure you give it a thumbs up because it is completely free and does not do any type of harm to you. It actually does a lot of help for me because it lets the algorithm know that I'm kind of good at making these videos and I'm kind of good at this sort of thing. So thank you so much in advance if you decide to do that. Make sure you leave a comment down below for me with the emoji right here so I know that you stayed all the way to the end and you are a real one. I hope you have an amazing morning, evening, or night wherever on the world, and I hope to see you again on the next video, which is going to be coming to you very soon. It's been a pleasure having you and I cannot wait to see you later. Bye guys.